Welcome to the newest episode of the Giants Huddle podcast. John Schmeelk with you. Today's guest, Giants offensive tackle Andrew Thomas. Want to remind you can find the Giants Huddle and all the shows on our Giants podcast network. We're just presented by Investors Bank on the Giants mobile app on giants.com/podcast and all your favorite podcast platforms. Now we're joined by Giants rookie tackle Andrew Thomas. Andrew, how are you, man? Good to talk to you.
I'm doing good. Glad to be on the show.
Hey, thanks for being with us, man. Let's start here. You guys just got off the practice field on Friday. It was pouring rain. It's not, folks, not drizzling. Pouring rain. What was it like being out there, Andrew, in the rain, practicing with your teammates, getting ready for this NFC East battle on Sunday?
It was a good time. You know, we have to embrace the elements. After practice, we had the rookies jumping in puddles and stuff like that, but it was a good time.
Do you feel like this team is starting to adopt that approach and that character that Joe Judge talks about, being that tough, physical, blue-collar type of team?
Definitely. We work hard. We grind every day. Our practices are physical and tough, and I think that translates to the game.
Now, in that scheme, and you talk about getting those double teams, I guess the key then is you really kind of got to get hip to hip, right? You got to get that first double team, and then it's got to be a bit of a feel thing, right, to figure out when you can leave that first double to get out to that second level to pick up those linebackers. Yeah,
you have to be focused on the LOS. That's the thing that we focus on when we're running gap trap. We have to remove the down lineman before we can get to the linebackers. And then when they launch, we launch. And when we hit it right, it's usually big plays. Let's
talk about the pass protection a little bit.
Yep.
When you've kind of examined the tape from this past game against the Cowboys and in weeks past, where do you think your group is as an offensive line as a whole now in terms of pass pro?
I think we're still growing. I think there's progress still to be made, but I think we're getting better as a unit as time goes on.
Now, I think in the last couple of weeks at least, that there's been a little bit less confusion, understanding who's picking up those late loopers, who's picking up guys on the stunts. Is that, much like we talked about in the run game, a bit of a feel thing where you guys have to be able to communicate instantaneously out there on the field together to pick up those right players?
Yes, it's verbal communication, obviously by, pointing out who's the mic, who we're going to, who we're doing, things like that. And then there's like the physical aspect of like feeling, when the guard is leaving, when he's trying to push you off, when passing off a tee or something like that. It's a field thing also.
What has it been like working with Nick Gates at center? It's his first year as a center, getting that pre-snap stuff right so you can handle it in live action properly.
Nick is doing a great job in his first year playing center, making sure we're all on the same page, getting the mic points, and I think he's playing pretty well too.
All right, for you individually, Andrew, what are some of the things you're working on in practice in terms of technique to try to improve your pass pro?
In the pass pro, just working on being consistent in my sets. That's the biggest thing for me, making sure I hit my landmark each and every time. And then the second thing, just my hands, making sure I'm getting a good strike with good posture each and every time.
It's funny, Andrew, that's exactly, we had a chance to talk to Mark Colombo a few days ago. He said the same thing. In terms of getting those right landmarks, obviously you're facing some of the best athletes in the world.
Yep.
They have the speed to win off the edge. Is it as simple as you mentally convincing yourself that, look, I am a great athlete, I have great feet, I can protect the edge against their speed, and that way I'm maybe not quite as vulnerable on the bull rush and on some of those inside moves?
Yeah, it's just trusting your technique. A lot of times if you lose focus and you try to do other things or try to do too much, basically, it can put you in bad positions. So for me, the biggest thing this week has just been trusting my technique and then reacting to what the defender does.
And I guess in some ways it's always a better option to push the guy around the outside of the quarterback than to get beat inside, because that kind of gives him that straight line to your quarterback, right?
Yeah, definitely. You want to protect the inside at all costs.
What has it been like working with Will there on that side, passing off those stunts and dealing in pass pro, knowing where you have help on certain plays?
It's been great working with Will. We're starting to build some camaraderie. He's a very physical guy, great at what he does, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of games with him.
Now, Andrew, one thing I've noticed in these games, maybe in the first quarter, you give up a pressure here, a sack there, but it seems like as these games go along, you get a feel for how these guys are trying to attack you. When you look at the tape and you review yourself, do you see progress within these games as you get a better feel for these individual rushers you're going against?
Yeah, I definitely do, but my goal is just to start fast. I think I'm a little bit, unsure, in my set sometimes in the beginning, trying to feel out what the defender may be doing, but that's what I was talking about earlier, just trusting my technique, knowing, what I've been working on and doing that from the jump.
What do you think you've learned about dealing with NFL caliber pass rushers that maybe you didn't know when you got drafted by the Giants in late April?
They take advantage of everything that you may do wrong. In college, you could take a bad set or have bad hand placement. You might get away with, being stronger than someone or being more athletic. But at this level, if you give them anything like that, they'll take it. So that's the biggest thing I've learned.
I remember in the offseason, Andrew, we actually talked to, I believe it was your offensive line coach at Georgia, and he talked about how one thing they really didn't train you guys a ton at, and he said if you were there another year, you would have. It just wasn't part of their technique, was getting that punch. So when you talk about your hands, is that what you're talking about, getting that violent punch to take that pass rusher off of his rhythm off the line?
Definitely. You want to have a good punch to throw him off, but also just not always using the two-hand punch. Sometimes a lot of these guys, they go for the outside hand. So if you punch with both hands and they catch it, they have the edge. So being independent strikes and things like that are things that I'm working on.
Hey, Giant fans, want to remind you can get a New York Giants checking account from Investors Bank with the Giants branded debit card, security features, and discounts at the Giants online shop. You can earn up to $250 when you open an account at investorsbank.com/Giants. Member FDIC. We're joined by offensive tackle Andrew Thomas. You talk about, getting off to a fast start. How do you prepare during the week for individual rushers so you do know what to expect when you step on the field for that first snap before you actually feel them in person?
It comes from practice, just taking every rep like it's third down for the game to win. Like that's how you have to treat it, regardless of who you're actually going against. That's how you have to treat it mentally. So when it's time for that, you're ready for it.
How about your film study? How much do you do individual work on understanding how some of these guys do attack offensive linemen on a game-in, game-out basis?
Yeah, it's way more than college. We look at everything. As a group, we look at, what's going on. Then as, like, myself, like with my notebook and things like that, just trying to pick up on little cues, watching people that may play similar to me and just looking, trying to find little nuggets that might help me in the game.
All right, how about these Washington pass rushers, Andrew? Because, boy, they're good. They have 5, I don't know how many teams have 5 first-rounders on their defensive line.
Yep.
They do. Let's start with fellow rookie Chase Young first. Obviously, you're familiar with him coming out of college. You guys did not play each other in college. But what do you think of Chase Young when you look at him on tape, and what do you have to be ready for?
He's a very talented rusher. But I think as a group, they play well together. If you look, a lot of times they're getting pressure from both sides of the offensive line. Like they play well together. So I think the biggest thing this week going in is just making sure that we trust our technique and understand that they're going to try to take advantage of us because they have great pass rushers. They're going to give us one-on-one situations where we're going to have to hold up. We're going to have to be successful in to win the game.
You have Montez Sweat. He's a guy that was a rookie last year. I remember watching him coming out. He's a guy where it just seemed like he knew how to use his length really well and his power. Where have you seen him kind of improve in his second year in the NFL and the challenges he brings you?
Yeah, from what I've seen on tape, obviously very athletic guy, great length. But I think what I've been seeing more this year is his counter moves. Like when you shut down his first move, he's been doing a lot better and redirecting and understanding, the level of where the quarterback is dropping and not, just running by the pocket, like having different, counter moves, which I think is making him a better pass rusher.
Yeah, and then finally, Ryan Kerrigan. He's a guy, Andrew, that we're sick of seeing with the Giants. He's been terrorizing the Giants for a really long time. He's a hell of a player. When you watch him on tape, do you even get a sense of, boy, that dude's a vet, and he just knows all the tricks of how to get to the quarterback?
Yeah, you can tell that he's a very seasoned vet, the things that he takes advantage of. If you oversay, he takes it. If you undersay, he takes it. And then another thing is I think people underestimate his power. Like I feel like he's a very strong rusher when he gets, under you, he gets good leverage. So that's someone else we have to be ready for.
All right, Andrew, final question. I know you talked about your approach to their front. Just as an offense, what do you think some of the keys are this week for you guys to continue to get off the schneid like you did against Dallas last week? You scored 30 points. To just keep your momentum going against Washington this week.
I think just running the ball, I think it starts up front. The more movement we have, the more, we're getting on first down. I think it makes it easier to pass pro when, you're running the ball down someone's throat. So I think the key to this game is just to run the ball, be physical, get a hat on the hat, and move the chains.
Andrew, great stuff, man. We appreciate the time. Best of luck against Washington.
Thank you. Appreciate you.